MovieBob. MovieBob. What can you say about Bob Chipman that isn't preceded by the phrase, "I can't believe I actually used to watch"? Well, I'd love to imagine a land of milk and honey where MovieBob was given his waddling orders simply because the escapist at long last wised up to his self-evident dearth of talent. It's just as likely the escapist needed to drop some dead weight and simply went for the largest object within reach. Mind you, this was after his parody of me, and for 7 months, I ignored it, the logic behind which was fairly straightforward. It was bad. Like, MovieBob's taste in anime bad, and it also rather conveniently came at a time when MovieBob was publicly pissing and whining about his lack of popularity on YouTube, presumably in instinctive preparation for his eventual excommunication from the only site where, for one fleeting moment, he may have actually bordered on relevance. So, why the sudden response, you ask? Well, because MovieBob just couldn't disengage his fucking temporomandibular joint for any longer than 5 fucking minutes. He kept running his mouth. Perhaps his only expressly articulated criticism of myself was directed at my unironic appreciation for the likes of the films of Chuck Norris and Charles Bronson over here. The implication being that such fare is only viable when paired with a super tanker of shoegazing hipster camp. To be meritorious, he implies, they must first be self-aware and boast something resembling acting chops. Slick, if your honey-glazed acting on the Game Over Eater is any indication, the only chops you're interested in are accompanied by a pork prefix. Irony is the enemy of good action films. It's the reason we can't have a straight-up bloodbath like Shoot 'em Up or Hobo with a Shotgun without the actors firing off more winks and nods than the waiting room of a fucking methadone clinic. Fuck your winks, fuck your nods, and fuck modern action movies. And MovieBob criticizing others for, of all things, lacking self-awareness. You have the credibility of a cab driver in a neck brace. Let me remind you all that this is the same nasally landmass that 2 years back delivered an impassioned nutritional exhortation to gamers on the subject of fitness without once making reference to his own.
Hit a treadmill, box, bike, elliptical, free weights. Do it up. Heck, is there a beach, lake, or pool in your area? Go there.
This motherfucker doesn't stop hitting the po' boys. They're gonna have to film his funeral in the IMAX format, and he's firing off cardiac health critiques? I think the only thing I truly objected to in your pie-faced parody was my being embodied by the anti-thinker, and that really boils it all down fairly effectively, doesn't it? No one can ever merely be wrong, or even just a good old-fashioned idiot in MovieBob's brine of bellicose bullshit. They have to first be conveniently corralled into some pejorative socio-political phylum for ease of dismissal. You don't address, let alone disprove, individual arguments, because doing so would implicitly entail the acknowledgement of your opponent's basic humanity and right to have their own fucking opinion. So Sargon of Akkad has to be a couple rungs below Timothy McVeigh on the ladder of right-wing lunacy, Girl Rights What has to be a self-hating traitor to a gender, and I have to be the very same brand of pop-collared, Heineken-swilling troglodyte that I've been considerably more vociferous, consistent, and articulate into crying since the inception of my fucking show than you have.
I don't even read games journalism, if I can help it. I mean, I buy like 2, maybe 3 games a year, and they usually don't change them all that much.
I don't want the 13th Khaki Cargo Shorts Brigade crying or tearing their tiny white undershirts in dismay when they watch this review, leaving me threatening emails or regaling me with aggressive use of the word bro.
Like, I must have missed the meeting where archetypal dude bros drop quintosyllabic verbiage and extol the excellence of first-person PC-exclusive stealth sims. Clearly, I wasn't invited to Thief the Dark Project night at the Pop Collared Collective. What in the fuck frat parties were you getting atomic wedgie at there, movie slob? You know, unless, of course, it's my style of dress that's proving the impassable inch-high hurdle. In which case, I sincerely apologize that not all of us don hot pink full-body ass-flap jammies to throw Adobe After Effects at imaginary obese ninjas while every thread of polyester so valiantly strains to contain the pasty flesh boulder within your buttonfly audibly prays for death. Not all of us make those kind of ready assumptions based entirely on one's fashion sense. And may I suggest that if the same scrutiny were applied to your Velveeta velour, the words windowless van and sex offender registry would doubtless be employed. Not all of us feel the need to signify our having played the single most popular platformer in history with a t-shirt splayed across our heaving man titties, obnoxiously proclaiming that our princess is in another castle, and chuckles between the caked-on pit stains and the fabric stretched thinner than your show's premise. It looks like your princess is in another pastry. Oh, but he's far too insulated from the unwashed, blithering masses to deign to respond to his perfectly coherent detractorship, sequestered as he claims to be by things like work, life, and yes, Dating, yeah. What are shipping and handling charges from Russia like these days? You know, they say you are what you eat, which is why I'm gonna have to ask MovieBob to stop devouring witless, perpetually misinformed, dogmatic cunts. I'm Razor Fist. Check your fire next time, bitch.
I think Trevor is the most important character ever.
We get it. Trevor's a loose cannon, a free spirit. He plays by his own rules. But Rockstar, it is of paramount importance that as you feverishly fillet this character until he leaves a gland-shaped impression on your tonsils, you occasionally come up for goddamn air.